How big is this move potentially?
Well, look, I think it's massive for the future of Liverpool Football Club. I think we have to be a little bit careful, though. There may be quite a lot of Liverpool supporters who are uneasy about the prospect of their club being part-owned by some of the richest men in the world.
Liverpool could be heading toward an ownership shake-up that almost nobody saw coming. Behind closed doors, serious money is reportedly circling one of the biggest clubs in world football. And one name connected to the situation immediately changes the temperature of the story.
And when people invest in football clubs or buy football clubs who previously don't really have a link to that football club, your duty really is to ask the question, why do they want to buy this club? Why do they want to invest?
Jeff Bezos. The Amazon founder, one of the wealthiest businessmen on the planet, has reportedly been linked to a consortium looking at buying roughly 1/3 of Liverpool Football Club. That would not give the group complete control, but it could still represent a major change at Anfield.
Are we going to have to pay higher prices in the future? Are we going to have to pay more to go to games? Are we going to have to pay more for merchandise? Are we going to have to pay more to watch our team on TV?
And if a deal this big gets through the door, fans will naturally wonder whether it could eventually lead to something much bigger. The story really started moving on Monday, the 10th of August 2026, when reports about the possible investment began spreading fast across the football world.
What difference will Jeff Bezos make to Liverpool? Obviously, none. It's only you'll get a knock on the door and you go out and you think, oh, is our new signing turned up? And you think, well, where is he? Well, they've lobbed him over the fence. Honestly, I was about to answer the door as the bloke disappears in a white van. All players will be delivered in white vans, won't they? Large white
Each
vans.
player's sign comes with order again.
Yeah, that's it. It looks like it's time to reorder a new centre-half.
Outlets, including Sky News and Forbes, reported on the situation, with suggestions that an announcement could potentially arrive as early as this week. Nothing should be treated as final until an agreement is officially confirmed, but the possibility alone has put Liverpool's ownership situation under a serious spotlight. Bezos being connected to any investment of this size is enough to get people talking, especially when the club involved is Liverpool. But Bezos is not the only heavyweight name in the mix. The reported consortium includes wealthy, well-connected business figures, and digging into the people behind it makes this whole situation even more interesting. Reports say the group is being led by Amit Bhatia, a 46-year-old British businessman who is also the son-in-law of steel billionaire Lakshmi Mittal. That connection brings another layer of serious financial power to a deal already attracting major attention.
Jeff Bezos is so rich he can buy anything he wants. So why does he want to buy a piece of Liverpool?
And Amit Bhatia is not some outsider suddenly stepping into English football for the first time. He already knows how the business works from the inside, having previously held a stake in Championship club Queen's Park Rangers. Before these reported Liverpool discussions, Bhatia transferred that holding to majority owner Ruben Ganalingam, reportedly to avoid potential issues involving multi-club ownership. The timing definitely adds another interesting layer to the story. Then there is the financial muscle around him.
Now, this deal could value Liverpool at £4.5 billion, 15 times more than the £300 million FSG paid to buy the club 16 years ago.
According to the Sunday Times Rich List, the Mittal family was ranked as the 8th wealthiest UK residents in 2025, with an estimated fortune of £15.44 billion. And their sports portfolio does not stop with football. The family already holds a controlling stake in T20 cricket franchise Rajasthan Royals, while also owning the second largest stake in NBA powerhouse, the Boston Celtics. But this investor group reportedly goes even deeper. Eduardo Saverin, the billionaire co-founder of Facebook, has also been linked with the consortium. Put Bezos, Bhatia, and Saverin around the same negotiating table, and suddenly, this starts looking less like a standard investment group and more like a collection of financial heavy hitters trying to secure a serious piece of Liverpool. Then you get to the numbers, and that is where the scale becomes impossible to ignore. Reports have valued Liverpool at approximately £4.4 billion, or around $5.9 billion. Some estimates go slightly further, placing the club closer to $6 billion, or roughly £4.45 billion depending on exchange rates.
Bezos is worth over £280 billion according to Forbes. He could become a co-owner at Anfield, buying a stake which could be more than 30% of the club. Of course, that is still a minority stake, but it's a significant one. Will the consortium want total control in the future?
At those valuations, purchasing around 1/3 of Liverpool could mean putting approximately £1.4 billion on the table. That is a staggering investment, considering the consortium would still be buying a minority position rather than taking full control of the club, making the reasons behind such a huge financial move even more interesting. Liverpool are not just sitting among football's biggest names anymore. Their value has climbed into a financial league where only a tiny group of clubs can compete. Forbes ranked Liverpool as the 4th most valuable soccer team in the world in 2026, estimating the club to be worth around $6.2 billion. The only teams ahead of them were Manchester United at $7.2 billion, Barcelona at $7.5 billion, and Real Madrid sitting on another level at an estimated $9.5 billion.
Last season, Liverpool finished 5th and sacked Premier League winning manager Arne Slot. Now, one of the world's richest men is getting involved at Anfield. Not all Liverpool fans will be happy. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.
So anyone trying to buy a serious piece of Liverpool is stepping into one of the most expensive clubs on the planet. But there is a major detail here that can easily get buried underneath all the billionaire names, huge valuations, and takeover speculation. What is being discussed is not currently being presented as a full Liverpool takeover. Fenway Sports Group, commonly known as FSG, has controlled the club since 2010, and there is no indication in these reports that the entire club is being sold. In July 2026, FSG confirmed the discussions and stated that an investment consortium led, managed, and represented by Amit Bhatia has expressed interest in making a strategic minority investment in Liverpool Football Club. That wording matters, especially one specific word, minority. If the consortium eventually acquired roughly 1/3 of Liverpool, it would become a seriously influential shareholder with a major financial stake in what happens next. But influence and control are two very different things. Under the reported structure, FSG would remain Liverpool's majority owner, meaning the consortium could have a powerful voice at the table without automatically getting the final call. For the biggest decisions involving Liverpool's direction, ownership strategy, and long-term future, FSG would still be holding the stronger hand. But this is exactly where one of the biggest assumptions around the Bezos story starts to fall apart. Seeing one of the richest people in the world linked with Liverpool might immediately make fans imagine an insane transfer window, with the club suddenly chasing every superstar available. The reality is nowhere near that simple. Premier League financial regulations connect what clubs can spend to factors such as revenue, profitability, allowable losses, and compliance with the league's financial rules. A billionaire shareholder cannot simply open his personal bank account and turn his entire fortune into Liverpool's transfer budget. That means Bezos's enormous estimated wealth should not be mistaken for some unlimited transfer cheat code. The reported investment is about buying equity in Liverpool, not dropping billions directly into a special account for new players. A stake worth roughly 1/3 of the club would instead change something much deeper. Who owns a significant piece of Liverpool, who potentially profits if the club's valuation continues climbing, and who gets a meaningful voice around the table when major business decisions are being discussed? And that creates an even bigger question. If Bezos cannot simply splash his personal billions on transfers, what makes Liverpool attractive enough for an investor at his level to potentially put such a massive amount of money into the club? The answer could be less about football passion and more about cold business logic. Global reach, commercial power, long-term growth, and the chance to own part of an increasingly valuable sports asset could all make Liverpool an extremely attractive target. Liverpool already operates far beyond the boundaries of English football. It is one of the most recognizable football brands in the world, backed by a huge international fan base and significant support across the United States. That American connection adds another twist to the business side of this story. Amazon has spent years building its position in entertainment and live sports through Prime Video and broadcasting rights. So, while Bezos and Amazon are separate in this context, A reported Bezos investment in a global sporting giant like Liverpool would place him alongside a growing wave of ultra-wealthy investors who see elite sports teams as far more than clubs. They are global brands, media properties, and potentially extremely valuable long-term assets. And Liverpool would hardly be the first major sports asset to attract this kind of billionaire money. Across the industry, some seriously wealthy investors have been making huge moves, and the price tags keep getting more extreme. Mark Cuban, the former Dallas Mavericks owner, acquired a minority stake in the Athletics last month. Tom Dundon purchased a majority stake in the Carolina Hurricanes in 2018 and later bought the Portland Trail Blazers. Then came deals on an entirely different scale. Mark Walter bought the Los Angeles Lakers for a record $10 billion the previous year, while the Bill Chisholm Group paid $6.1 billion for the Boston Celtics. Once you look at Liverpool through that same business lens, the Bezos connection starts to make a lot more sense. This does not necessarily look like a billionaire simply chasing trophies or trying to become the latest famous face in football. It could be a calculated long-term play involving an asset with history, worldwide attention, massive commercial power, and room to become even more valuable. Elite sports franchises are increasingly being treated like rare global assets, and some of the world's richest investors clearly want a piece of that action. There is also another part of Bezos' history that makes these reports harder to brush aside. He has already been linked with buying a major sports franchise before, with previous reports connecting him to a potential purchase of the Seattle Seahawks. In other words, speculation about Bezos stepping into sports ownership did not begin with Liverpool. What makes this situation stand out is the reported size of the investment. Buying roughly 1/3 of Liverpool would be no small side bet, and it immediately raises questions about whether a minority position could remain just that over the long run. For the moment, FSG's message is pretty clear. Its July statement described these talks specifically as discussions over a minority investment, meaning FSG would remain in control and Liverpool's current ownership structure would not suddenly be ripped apart. But sports ownership can be a long game. Buying a minority stake today does not automatically tell you what the picture could look like 5 or 10 years from now. There have been cases across professional sports where smaller investments eventually became part of much bigger ownership changes. There is no confirmation that Bezos or anyone else in this reported consortium plans to follow that path at Liverpool, but the possibility is exactly why people are digging deeper into this story. And Liverpool's recent ownership history makes that question even harder to ignore. Back in 2022, FSG explored the possibility of selling the club outright. The Athletic reported that a sales presentation had been prepared for potential buyers, with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley helping with a process that reportedly valued Liverpool at around £3.6 billion. At the time, it looked like one of the biggest ownership stories in football could be brewing. But that complete sale never materialized. Instead, FSG eventually chose a very different route. In September 2023, private equity firm Dynasty acquired a minority stake in Liverpool. A potential investment involving the Bezos consortium would continue that broader strategy of bringing outside capital into the club without FSG giving up majority control. If the reported deal lands at roughly 1/3, then 1/3 is exactly what it would be, a minority position. Whether that percentage ever changes later would come down to future negotiations, FSG's long-term intentions, and how the relationship between the owners develops. Anything beyond that remains speculation right now. And all of these ownership discussions are landing during another major period of change behind the scenes at Liverpool. The club has also been dealing with a significant shake-up in its football leadership. Michael Edwards, widely credited with playing an important role in building the squad that ended Liverpool's 30-year wait for an English League title in 2020, left his position as FSG's Chief Executive Officer of Football in July 2026. That timing makes the bigger picture even more intriguing. Liverpool are potentially discussing a multi-billion pound ownership move while changes are also unfolding at the top of the football operation, putting both the business side and the sporting structure under a much brighter spotlight. For Liverpool supporters, seeing all of this unfold brings back memories that are difficult to ignore. This fanbase has already watched the club go through some seriously messy ownership drama, especially during the debt-heavy Tom Hicks and George Gillett era before FSG finally took control in 2010. Since then, Liverpool have rarely been far away from ownership rumours. Takeover claims, billionaire investors and supposed buyers have repeatedly appeared in the headlines, so fans have learned not to treat every massive name as proof that a deal is actually happening. Elon Musk was even pulled into previous speculation surrounding Liverpool, but those claims were quickly knocked down. An FSG spokesperson responded directly, stating, "There is no truth to these rumors. That history is important because it explains why seeing Bezos and other extremely wealthy businessmen linked with Liverpool will not automatically have every supporter celebrating. There is obvious curiosity around what this level of investment could bring, but there is caution too. Fans will want to know what a new shareholder actually wants, how much influence that shareholder could eventually have, and whether the priorities of the club would change behind closed doors." The biggest twist is that supporters might not have to wait very long for more clarity. According to Sky Sports sources, an announcement regarding the proposed transaction was expected within days, although one source warned that the timing could slip into next week. Nothing is official until it is confirmed, but the situation appears to be moving, with Liverpool already dealing with changes in football leadership while potentially reshaping a major part of the ownership structure. Two powerful shifts could now be happening at almost exactly the same time. Whether this deal moves on the timeline currently being reported or needs a little more time behind the scenes, the main picture remains the same for now. A consortium led by Matchio is reportedly pursuing roughly a one-third stake in Liverpool, with Jeff Bezos and Eduardo Saverin among the major names linked to the investor group. FSG, meanwhile, would remain Liverpool's majority owner and retain overall control under the reported structure. With billions potentially involved and some of the wealthiest businessmen in the world connected to the talks, every new development is going to be watched closely. And that is where this story gets really interesting, because buying one-third of Liverpool would already be a massive move, but nobody can know for certain what the ownership picture might look like years from now. Is this simply a group of billionaires seeing Liverpool as a valuable long-term sports investment, with FSG remaining firmly in charge? Or could a minority investment eventually become the first chapter in a much bigger ownership story? Right now, there is no confirmation of a future takeover, so anything beyond the reported minority deal remains speculation. Now, I want to hear where you stand. Would you be comfortable seeing Bezos, Bhatia, and Saverin owning a major piece of Liverpool while FSG keeps control? Or would you be watching this deal very carefully to see whether that one-third stake ever grows into something more? Drop your take in the comments and tell me how you think this could play out. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, share this video with another football fan who needs to see what is happening, and subscribe to Matchio for more football stories, ownership drama, transfer developments, and the biggest moves happening behind closed doors. Turn on notifications too, because if this situation takes another unexpected turn, you will want to know about it. Thanks for watching Matchio, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.